As usual, I'm going to share something today that I think we all need to listen. You know that not every gift is wrapped with the best of intentions. The minimum income in a place like Nigeria, where a lot of my viewers contact me from, is as little as 70,000 or 80,000 naira a month. When you convert that to pounds or the dollars, it will not sometimes buy you lunch if you have a big family. 35 pounds or $50 a month. When you talk to your friends, family, struggling to make ends meet on minimum wage, and you share or you tell them how much you earn here, what do you think that does? It gives them the very depressing image of their lives, going nowhere, dead-end job, dead-end country, no prospects, and they start to work hard to come abroad. You don't give them the full picture. You tell them what they need to listen to give them the impression that you're doing better. While most of us actually regret it, we are not big enough, bold enough to share with those we love the stark reality. I got a call, an interesting call, and as usual I said I'll share. This story stood out more because I really felt sorry for this gentleman. He's 44 years old. He's based in the eastern part of Nigeria. It's really sad that he went to school, has a first degree in economics, which I remember because that's what I did as well for a first degree, and life happened. They say Nigeria happened to him. He's not been fortunate enough to work with his degree. So basically he backed that degree almost 20 years ago, like you can imagine, and has really never used it. He got lucky, I'll say in quotes, about maybe almost well over 15 years ago, and got into a very junior role with a bank, one of the big banks. And he did that for so many years without any progression. He stayed in this junior role, but it helped his family. In that time, had 4 kids and has brought them up with this minimum wage. But halfway through, he got his wife another junior position so that at least there's 2 incomes in the home. And even if they were on minimum wages, the 2 of them could make ends meet. In a town which is not so expensive, they lived according to their means or below the means, and they really had no reason to complain too much. Unfortunately, these banks merged, and he, being at the bottom of the chain, somehow lost his job with no, redundancy package, or how we would lose our jobs abroad and you'll be compensated. He did not have any of that, so he lost it despite all the promises to get him something else. He's been out of work for 4 years. In this time, his wife has, with her own income, I think that works out to be about £130, which is decent money, or about that. So she's looked after the whole family. One of his brothers offered him a job. I wouldn't really say that he was on an annual or monthly salary. He was just given stipend, money to survive daily, by his brother while he ran or worked in his shop. Anyway, he's done this for several years, and the family decided to help him. That looks superficially very kind, right? They thought, you have 4 kids, his youngest is not even 2 yet, and his oldest is below 14. His wife has been struggling, and she too just cannot carry on like that. Life is tough. Okay, they thought, go abroad. Let's help you to go abroad so that you can then help your family, and in essence, almost say you'll stop being a burden. Because he had a friend who lost his job at the same time like him, and his friend said, I traveled, I came to the UK, I came to do a master's, and life is a lot better. I'm going to help you. Of course, he was very happy. What his friend said to him is, oh my God, in 1 year, you would work hard. You will do everything you can do as a student to pay off that fees, and then you have 2 years work permit in the UK where you can then get a job, get work experience. If you choose after 2 years to stay in the UK, then you might be able to get a sponsorship. Or if you're not able to, then at least you've had experience, you've had a degree from abroad, and then you can go back home. Before I even go into the details of this and how unrealistic it is. I'm talking to you now. If you have studied, done a degree back home, when I say back home, it could be Nigeria, the case in question, it could be any other African country. Most people would have done degrees and not had jobs. Because, yes, we know that there's corruption. It depends on who you know, what your name is, your family background, and everything that I don't have to repeat. You've not had a job. For 15 years, you've not been able to work in your field, in the country where everybody looks like you. You expect that you'll come abroad, you'll do 1 year masters, and during that time, you're allowed to do 20 hours. The chances of you having a white-collar job during that time, which is linked to your degree, is very low. Let's be real. It's very low, because most of these jobs will not give you 20 hours a week, which is what you're allowed to do. Rarely in specific sought after fields will you get a job that is happy to pay you part-time while you're studying, especially when you have limits to your visa as a student. So most people end up doing casual jobs, blue-collar jobs, okay? One, just to make up the time, make up the money, and just help with the living costs. And that was a long time ago when we had less immigrants crowding for the same part-time jobs, okay? And then you expect that you will come with an economics degree that you did 20 years ago. Even if you did it 10 years ago, you've come to the UK, your fees is 12,000, 15 or 20,000 pounds a year. You've paid an advance of maybe 2,000, 3,000 pounds, as it were in this case. And his friend came to the UK and said, it's not bad at all. I live in the north of England, so it's cheap. What is cheap? He pays 400 pounds a month. But when his friend comes, they'll share that to 200 pounds. When you add all of the bills, we're talking maybe, if they're being very frugal, very tight, when you add council tax, water, electricity, gas, internet, mobile phone, we're talking maybe about 550, 600. When you add transport and everything, he's saying not more than 700. And that's me trying to prompt the bills, because I know the country. His friend said, you would not even pay more than 300 because I spent 20 pounds on a bus pass. So in a month, it's just 100. So when you join the bills, it's 400. I said, forget that. When you add feeding, it will be at least 600 to 700 pounds. That is how much you will need to survive. This is a man who has 4 kids. His wife has been looking after the kids, paying the rents, feeding, school fees, literally everything, while he brings a very small amount every month. But his family has decided to help him. His friend got him admission in a university in the south. Let me tell you guys why I'm so angry. He's had to spend close to 6,000 pounds, about 12 million naira. I don't know the conversion, but something about that amount. Something maybe even more. I'm not doing the maths properly. If you know the conversion, please put it under. His family put all of that money together, paid his first installments for 3,500 pounds for the fee, for the deposit for his fees to be given a visa. He had to pay for some bank statements, you know how it is. I'm not going to spell it out here, for his visa to be, believable, that he had the funds to fund his trip. That was another, I think, about 2 million naira. And then all of his documents, passports, and then health insurance. He spent about 5,000 pounds to get a visa. And then I asked him, how are you going to pay back? He said it's a loan from his family. When he comes here, they'll give him a year or 2 and he'll have to give them back the money. I thought, okay, very kind. How do you expect to survive on 20 hours a week? Pay the rest of your fees, which is about, maybe his total fee was about 15,000 pounds. So he was still owing them a healthy 12,000 pounds. How are you going to survive? How are you going to save for the people you owe and you have a family depending on you. How do you plan on doing that in 3 years? Because the clock starts ticking. 3 years is me being generous. 3 years is me assuming that the Home Office doesn't change its rules. At the moment, when you have your visa, after your completion, you have 2 years to work. The rules are changing by the second. When this was implemented was when I came here. The year after I graduated, it was initially 1 year and it went to 2, and it's been going on for almost 20 years now. With all the rumors we're hearing about reducing immigration, because we know that things will change depending on how much they need our money and what the situation is. At the moment in the UK, they're trying to cut down the number of immigrants, so they will use any method to reduce that number. My advice to anybody looking to travel is please get your numbers right. You are hoping on the proviso that you are going to have 2 years work permit and you're going to get yourself a white collar job, because his argument is if he comes here, he will get a job after his degree, forgetting that in 1 year you have to pay the fees, otherwise you're not going to get the 2 years. And I can bet on anything that in January, when they announce the new immigration rules, they will reduce that from 2 years. It could be 1 year, it could be 6 months, it could be completely scrapped. It's a way to lure immigrants to pay the international fees. When they finish, they tighten every other aspect and they spit them out. My question to you, sir, and I told you this, and you are such a noble man. Why did your family not hand you 10 million naira to start a business? You are 44, for crying out loud. You've never been lucky to get a white collar job with your degree. When I asked you what your course was, you were so honest, you did not even know the title of your course. So what that means is deep down, you know that you were not really coming to study. It was a means to an end, and you agreed. It was a way for you to stay here. You were not really planning to go and study. You were planning to come, do any odd job. I'm not going to say, what you said to me, but we both know, and most people watching will know that you will do anything to work under the table to save as much while your visa was still there. Maybe do 20 hours, maybe not even visit your university because the town is so far from where your friend is. And you did not even think about that. All they did for you was look for a university that would take your degree, get you a master's, and get you admission. You're forgetting that wherever you land, it needs to be close to your university in the first place. And where your friend is and where your university is, polar opposites, and I told you this. That's the first thing. Even if you landed in the same airport, you'll have to come here to where your friend is, live with him. He says that there are loads of jobs, cleaning jobs, care jobs, cash in hand, all sorts. I can tell you that you'll be paid the minimum wage. And this minimum wage, if you do all the hours sent, you might be breaking even with £2,000 a month. If you were so lucky. When you take away your expenses, you're left with 1,002 maybe. Let's multiply that by a year, which means that you're never going to be sick, no holidays, you work like a robot all through the year to be left with, let me be generous, you'll be left with, say, 12,000, 13,000 pounds. Is this going to pay your fees that you've not visited the university? Is this going to pay what you've taken from your family? Is this going to regularize you to actually get the 2 years work visa for the experience you so need? What is that going to do to you? You'll come, you'll struggle with the weather. You will probably not be able to escape the visa situation, because I divulge that people are working hard nowadays to make sure that when international students come here, they actually attend lessons. Otherwise your visa could well be cancelled. If your visa is cancelled, you've already paid an installment. So if you have to stay here and go to school and work 20 hours, it means that you will not be paying the little rent. You'll be spending £1,000 to survive. And then you still have to cough out the remaining fees. You still have to pay back your family. Then you'll have to save for when you go back. All of that doesn't seem like it's worth you traveling at 44. He said, "Excuse me, Lulu, The reason why I contacted you was because I already had cold feet. If it was okay, I would not be talking to you. I don't want to travel. He said even his wife is so angry with him because she wants him to travel out. And he said to me, I'll be lonely. I have never been away from my wife. He said he is a devoted Christian who has never looked astray since we've been married for almost 15 years. And now at 44, when he meets his family, he's expected to go like a lamb to slaughter. That's how it felt to me, and I was so sorry when I heard this man talk. His family, everybody wants him to travel, and I started thinking that if you had asked your family for that assistance while you were in Nigeria, will they give it to you? Ask yourself this question if you're watching this video, anybody else, that if you had spoken to your family members who are financially independent, will they help you with the problem that you have if you were staying to open a business? And he said, I'm not going. I have asked the university to give me a refund, and the money was refundable. I was literally cheering for him. I was so happy. I said, I would never tell anybody not to travel. But between me and you were already in a hot mess back home. He said he already has a business in mind, and I advised him further. We spoke about it at length. I said, keep me like your accountability partner. I will help you do whatever it takes to make sure that you stand your feet back home. I said, if your family members are angry with you, trust the process. Invest that money back home. That is a lot of capital. He said it's money he's never seen. But that's money he wanted to pour in this country, to throw down the drain, because this degree, he was never planning to do it. How do you think that your visa will be, you'll be given extra 2 years? So I said to him, the only other option is he comes here, 1 year he blows up his visa and he stays undercover and lives here illegally for the next 10 years till he can go back. And he said over his dead body, because that is like life in chains. I didn't use the word, he said it. He'll feel like he had no reason to leave. So he will leave his wife, 4 kids, and be working under the table because he will be illegal, because his visa will be cancelled. Save up all the money. Yes, if he can do that, that's fine. He can work, hide, be miserable. He's 44. So in 10 years, he'll be approaching almost retirement age. So he would have worked hard. Yes, he'll pay the family. He'll pay whoever he's owing. He'll have sent money home, and maybe spends all of his life in misery, hoping not to be caught, for his family to get their money back, his wife to live like a princess, like a queen back home. His kids will be better off, but he'll be the scapegoat, as opposed to spending that money in the economy, opening a business, and being with his family, reuniting with his family, instead of bringing up kids with our fathers because they want to travel abroad. This message is for a lot of us watching. If you have a family member that you love and you can afford it, please help them to catch fish by keeping them together as a family. You might think that you love them trying to send them abroad, but if you know what is happening and how crazy the country is at the moment, you will not be doing that. When you pray to God every day, pray for 2 things: the discernment to know what is right and what is wrong, because as I said at the beginning of this, not every gift wrapped to you is a blessing like it looks. Sometimes denial could be seen as a blessing. And the second thing that you should pray for is a spouse that understands and loves you, not a spouse that will sacrifice you, or family that will sacrifice you. Then when you come here, you would owe them, you'll be indebted to them, and you'll be paying black tax while you're miserable and they are living their lives back home. Use your head, okay? Let's be wise. Let's make every decision be an informed decision. If this is the first time that you've seen one of my videos, hello, my name is Lulu, and this is Lulu Diaries, where I share my thoughts, what I wish I knew, and what I'll advise my younger self, especially when it comes to life abroad and the challenges we face as immigrants. As an immigrant myself, who's lived here for well over 2 decades, raised a family, and I'm thinking of going back. And people coming here today, please have the full information. Don't take half-baked knowledge. I always have my email address pinned. I will come to you I have a lot of requests, and when I talk to you, I always say, I do this so that it could prevent you from making the mistakes that we all made. What do you guys think? Do you think that the family members are doing this naively, or are they doing it to say, I've helped a family member who would in turn help me? And to the wife, please understand your husband. You could even lose him to somebody else here. And then where do you start with 4 kids? Anything can happen. Like always, thanks very much. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. Share to somebody who is in this place now, trying to make a decision as serious as this, because traveling abroad is not something that you should just take lightly. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks, and please consider subscribing, because there's a lot of exciting information that we'll keep sharing. Bye-bye. Bye.